One. Hello and welcome to Morning Brew. It is Monday the 19th of June 2023. I think it's Garfield's birthday today. Morning everybody. Morning to Master Templar in the chat there. We've got City Life, we've got Tim Ballum, we've got Lucy Willis, we've got Stephanie Wilson, we've got Richard Marsden, we've got Dave, we've got Angela, we've got One Angry Pagan is in there. We've got Freckle Puny and Rob and Nick and Diff is there as well. And Richard saying, big news for me this weekend is that Phil is trying out for Labour. Yes, it's official. Phil, we were thinking of announcing this on the agenda, but I thought we'll let Phil announce it. But Phil is going to try and stand as an MP. I think for Doncaster. I think for Donny, because his constituency has changed. Sorry, I'm just going to lift my microphone up. Sorry if that makes a bit of a weird noise. Okay, so hello from France. Hello, Jan, all the way from France. Bonjour. Good morning, says Clapped Out Moser. So today, I wanted to just jump in on the whole Partygate thing. I know we're all kind of sick of it. Someone was asking what time the vote is tonight. It's at 7 o'clock tonight. Well, that's the debate. Whether Rishi Sunak is going to be there or not, your guess is as good as mine. He won't be there. I really doubt he'll be there. I mean, it's not a case of I will eat my hat if he's there, but I seriously doubt that he will be there. I just seriously doubt it. But, yeah, Plumdor's saying good for Phil. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Labour really need Phil. Labour needs Phil more than Phil needs Labour. Put it that way. But that it is good. Nick and Diff says, yeah, no way, amazing news. Yay for Phil. So yeah, Phil Morehouse is he's gonna try. You know, it might not be successful. He's got to put himself forward as a candidate for selection. And who knows? But it's Vendetta saying it'd be empty on the Tory scum benches. It's a bit harsh, isn't it? Calling them benches. Oh yeah, they are benches. They sit on them. Okay, so talking of Tory scum, I'm going to show you a clip that emerged over the weekend of Tories dancing. This is on the 14th of December 2020, and we're going to have a little bit of discussion, you, me, and the chat, about what it was like at that time for us little people, us normal people. But let's just have a look at these people ruining Fairy Tale of New York by the Pogues forever. So this is Tories just basically making a mockery of the lockdown rules that the rest of us had to abide by. Here it is.
It's
not her boyfriend.
He's wearing them.
No,
he's wearing braces. He's like 19 and he's wearing braces. Are they dancing? What are they doing? God.
It's party.
Social distancing ad. Come and dance. What are you doing? That woman is incredibly rich and that's San Francisco. It's a nepo baby. That was a real laugh. What do you think of this? I'll tell you what I think of this. I think it's absolutely disgusting that while we couldn't see our friends and family during lockdown, they were dancing. That's how far they were taking it. That, you know, this isn't just a little bit of, you know, light relief after a stressful day at work. And I never ever let anyone get away with that kind of excuse when they talk to me. I'm like, you're kidding me, aren't you? What do you do for work? Right? What are you, a coal miner? You work on an oil rig? What do you do? Do you go up the electricity pylons and fix them? What do you do for work, right? Oh, I'm in an office all day. You're in an office all day. Okay, right. And is that the most stressful environment that you could possibly imagine? Well, you know, there's a lot of decisions to be made. Okay, right. The press office was where they had the Wine Time Fridays, all right? That was the press office of the Tory bit of Number 10. Well, it's all Tory, isn't it? But the press office work for the Prime Minister. They're not civil servants. They work for the Prime Minister. They spin stories to the press. Their job is to write one press release a day. Chat GPT will do that for you in about 30 seconds. Just type in what you want it to say. So you need to spin this story so it doesn't sound so bad for us. And it goes, okay, then There you go. There's your work for your day. They were working really hard. They were working really, really hard. I don't understand how they worked hard during World War II and, didn't manage to have parties every freaking night. Is he wrestling or dancing, says Master Templar. Absolutely. Absolute wankers partying while our grandmas and grandpas die. Indeed. Perhaps the opposition bench can all vote for it and add in a few extra punishments. Well, I hope so. I hope he gets banned I hope Boris Johnson gets banned from the parliamentary estate. You scumbag, you maggot. Lyrics have never been so true. That's from Anchor. Yes, I absolutely couldn't agree more. Nick and Diff says some of the tweets from medical staff upon seeing this video are heartbreaking. Davy says, Graham, they're horrible. They should be arrested right now and unalive in jail. Couldn't agree more. Are you filming this? Yes, it's for future blackmail. Posterity. Richard Marston says, at the time, I was working as a store manager and ended up with depression and left my job eventually. The stress was awful, customers awful, staff scared for extra few pence per week. I'm really sorry to hear that, Richard. Well, this is Craig. Well, deciding what lie to tell today is a high pressure thing for a Tory government, indeed. Marza says the video is shocking. All those people are easily identifiable. They should be sacked and charged. No, they've actually been given peerages. They've been given peerages, if you can believe that. Which is, this whole thing. I'm gonna just bring up a list of their names. Actually, I just feel like I'm in school now. Here's a list of the naughty children. They're all Nepo babies. They're all hideously rich. They were all born into money. They were all born into vast sums of money. I'll just get up the link here. I had to say goodbye to my dad over the phone. Seeing this footage is pretty grim. That's from Anchor. Trump is in the brown stuff too. Hope karma gets all of them. I really do. Well, justice. I'm not a big believer in karma because these people are all born 3-0 up, and someone like Boris Johnson just keeps failing upwards, grailing. He's the absolute epitome of why karma probably isn't a thing. He has just failed his way into government office. So the people in the office photographing in that video, Sean Bailey, Sean Bailey. Lord Bailey made Lord Bailey by Boris Johnson. It is understood the video was filmed shortly after he had left the event, but he was photographed standing in the middle of a group and smiling. The colleagues pose with glasses in their hands. This is at Tory Party HQ in London. Ben Mallet can be seen wearing festive braces. A Navy. Do you think he went to private school? I think I'm going to put a bet. Anyone want to bet with me that he went to private school? Holding a glass of wine in the video and in the picture first circulated. He's understood to be a close friend of Carrie Johnson, privately educated, and also ran Zach Goldsmith's mayoral campaign in 2016. Mallet is now running Mozammel Hussein's London mayoral campaign. Cool. So he's still in a job, not in jail, given a promotion. Nick Candy, Tory donor Nick Candy was pictured wearing a grey blazer and raising a glass of braces and blazers. This is what these people were. They're not like us. Do you know what I mean? They're just the property developer unsuccessfully bid for Chelsea Football Club last year. He's got a few quid to spare. He's just like you and me, unwinding after a hard day's of work, being a multi-millionaire. A penthouse he developed with his brother in One Hyde Park became Britain's most expensive home when he bought it for himself for £160 million. Guys, I try not to get too angry in the morning because, it's the morning and we're just waking up. But oh my God, I hate these people. I hate, double hate, loathe entirely these absolute scumbags that run this country through the Tory party. It's not a Conservative party. It is a party of billionaire, extreme, libertarian Nazis. That's who they are. Jack Smith and Malin Bogue. Jack Smith was pitching the festive jumper and green trousers, dancing with Malin Bogue, who was wearing a red A-line dress to the song photo in New York by the Pogues. £2 super chat there. Thank you very much from One Angry Pagan. A sign that some kind of revolution is needed. Yes, indeed. So Smith is a parliamentary aide to the Conservative Energy Minister, Graham Stewart, one of the worst Grahams. Bogue is the daughter of a wealthy businessman from San Francisco. Nepo babies make their dreams come true. She worked on Johnson's leadership campaign to replace Theresa May in 2019. Well, there you go. While she volunteered to work for Johnson's campaign, it was revealed that she was paid by Sanjeev Gupta, the industrialist whose practices left 5,000 UK jobs at risk. She now works for the lobbying firm Stonehaven as a senior consultant. She works for a lobbying firm now. My God, let's have a look at some of your chats here. Correction, constituents. Indeed. Was that me? No, that was you. Okay. They clearly broke the law. Johnson gave the peerages to cause maximum trouble. He did indeed. Nick and Diff. Sunak is beyond weak. Such a pathetic yellow coward. He needs the Corbyn chicken treatment. Yeah, let's do that. I might just make that picture later on Photoshop. Reality is the majority of people who can afford to do this work are nepo babies. Yeah, because they don't get paid for it. They just do it to amass future fortunes or secure their fortune that they were born with. This isn't about making money. And it's one of the reasons why I'm really coming around to the idea of salaries not being taxed so much. Let's get income tax down and let's get wealth tax up. And then you're only really, to any degree, taxing these super wealthy scumbags and, I don't know, making them not want to waste their life making our lives more difficult. Maybe they could just take their money and get out of our country. Maybe they just get out of our... Maybe they could just leave. Oh, but then they'll take their money with them. Good! Let them take their money with them, because it's not like we get anything out of it. They use our services. They drive around on our roads that we pay for out of our taxes, because super rich people don't pay their fair share in tax. That is a truism. Death and taxes, rich people don't pay their fair share. 3 truisms in life. It's just the fact. They drive on our roads, creating extra potholes in their very expensive Chelsea tractors, very heavy cars that they drive around in. We pay to fill in those potholes. They do not. They use our services. They use our parks. Their children might go to our schools in primary school before they go to the, Eton, Harrow, Winchester, wherever. They're parasites. They are parasites on our society, which we have built through hard work, through actual labour, through actual getting our, shoulders to the grindstone. Our parents and grandparents. I mean, our grandparents, my grandparents, the generation of my grandparents, fought in the war. I can't say that about my parents' generation, but I can say that about my grandparents. And they put their lives on the line to fight fascism, to fight the Nazis. And now their children, the boomers, are voting for these clowns. Stop it. Stop it. And if you are a boomer and you're watching this, obviously I'm not including you in that, because if you did vote for them, you wouldn't be watching this channel. But if you know someone who has, can you just have a word with them? Just call them up, even if you haven't spoken to them for years because of the Brexit vote. Just give them a call and say, are you still supporting these gang of Nazis? And find out that one of their parents fought in the war. It's usually one of the parents, because, when you have this, when you have grandparents, it usually turns out that only one side fought in the war. At least, at the most, one side fought in the war. Because the other side of the grandparents they had the protected professions. I wonder how they survived the war. You're saying. Thank you, Clapped Out Motor. There's so many of us with the same story, indeed. Freckle Puny, funny how Tory London mayoral candidate Sean Bailey is implicated up to his armpits. I bet all my savings, those defending Johnson, will not do anything like the same for him. Indeed. Karma works when a human or 3 get involved to pursue it. Yes. Maybe when I go around in my sort of quest around the world to track all these bastards down once they're out of office and they flee the country and bring them to justice, we can call the TV show of the camera crew that comes with me. You can call it Karma Chameleon. Right. Oh my God, there's loads of messages coming in. Duke Venture says, rather sarcastically, yeah, Graham, but Labour would be worse, somehow. Indeed. It's the 80s yuppies again, but worse. Yes. That's what it's like, isn't it? The 80s yuppies. You ever see the movie Wall Street by Oliver Stone, and it's got Gordon Gekko played by Michael Douglas in it, and his taste is so tacky, and the clothes he wears, the art he's got in his house is just disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. His house looks like a children's television show set from the 1980s. Yes. Let the hate flow. Let the hate flow through you, Graham, says Rob Reed Jones, channeling Emperor Palpatine there. William said, "Don't hate these people. They're not worth that level of emotional investment for you." Yeah, but William, I do hate them. One of my good friends died during lockdown. Died in the summer of 2020, and he was suffering from alcoholism. He didn't have his support network around him that he should have done because of lockdown. His support worker wasn't visiting as much, and it took a horrible situation that might have been recoverable. And because of lockdown, because of we were trying to protect each other and protect the vulnerable from dying of this horrible disease, COVID. There was no one there for him, and he died. And it's horrible to think that someone that I know and someone I was very close to, back in the day, he wasn't found for 3 days. He wasn't found for 3 days. These people, these Tories, are having a party, having a knees up. And also, one of the other things that I think of when I think about the lockdown, I just think about my stepdaughters crying about not being able to see their grandparents at Christmas. About that day when they went into school for one day in January 2021. They went into school for one day and then they were told they had to come home. We had to sit them down and they were just like in tears. We told them that we weren't going to be going on holiday that summer. And they just having to sit your stepdaughters down and say, I'm really sorry, but we won't be able to go on holiday. And them, knowing that they shouldn't cry about it, but cry, and that is what we all went through. To a similar degree, we've all got our stories about how messed up it was during lockdown for our lives. And yet the Tories, not only are those, I'm really trying hard not to swear here. Those Tories aren't just dancing, they're dancing on the graves of 220,000 people who've died in this horrible pandemic, which is still ongoing. Despite what rich people like, Julia Hartley's Brew will tell you that we shouldn't have locked down and we shouldn't have been wearing masks, etc., etc. Which I'm not even getting into that conversation, because if that was the case, then Japan would have a much higher rate of death from COVID than it does, and it doesn't. It has a much lower rate, a lot lower than the UK, which has one of the highest in the OECD. Just going to a couple of super chats to come through. That's £10 from Simon. Thank you very much, Simon. One angry pagan, hating Tories is as natural as human migration. Yeah, hatred, survival is natural as sorrow. Imagine having to work and willingly hang out with the Gordon Gekko Braces Brigade. That's a man correct. Yeah. They're still pushing the trickle down crap. Indeed. Well, how are they going to lead their property holdings? I can't see Goldsmith et al. Carrying their office buildings over the border. The assets will stay here to be taxes. We need to reform the law. So it's very simple. Like, if we reform the law to say if you have property in the UK, you have to live here. That's it. And you have to pay tax in this country. If we find out that you have not paid any tax in a given year, and you're rich, and you live in this country, and you've got property, well, we'll take that property from you. Absolutely. In the same way that if you are normal, like the rest of us, and you have a mortgage on a house, or you have property, and you don't pay your tax, taxman will come and take your house, because they want the tax. Why is that just for us? Why isn't it for them? Why is it one rule for them? Nick and Div posted the Sunak chicken pick in Discord for you earlier. Thank you very much. Share widely. Found it earlier. Brilliant, Nick and Div. Thank you. I will share that. My mate works for Transport for London. Got a tenner pay rise. A senior bus got a 40k pay rise. Copperberg says they say we need to rich in this country we need the rich, sorry, to invest in the country as they invest in the UK. Nonsense, they invest in foreign companies and scurry their money in offshore accounts. Yeah, Copperberg, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. We don't need these people. They are parasites. They do not pay their fair share to the society that gave them all the money and power that they have. And these people who were dancing on the graves of the 220 odd thousand people who have died from COVID have all been given gongs. Lord Sean Bailey, what? Lord Bailey, you kidding me? What's he done? He failed to run for London Mayor. Zach Goldsmith also failed to run for London Mayor. He was given a seat in the House of Lords. They're all the same. Not politicians. Stop saying that. It's not true. You know it's not true. I know it's not true. I know some Labour politicians. I know some Lib Dem politicians. I know some Green politicians who are bloody wonderful. Really good people who care about us. There's not a single Tory in the elected Tory party at the moment. Not a single Tory MP who gives a damn about you or me. It's one rule for them, one rule for everybody else. And if you think that I'm exaggerating here, let's have a look at a picture. I'll bring a picture up on the picture here. There we go. This is a guy called David Warburton. That's an MP called David Warburton, who was the MP for Somerton and Frome, wherever that is. And he had the Tory whip removed, which is remarkable because normally they do investigations. Not for this photo. If you notice, he is sitting there with a load of cocaine. And that's the Tory party. Do you see how those two people were dancing? You don't dance like that when you're drunk. You're too loose. You're too like... They were cocaine dancing. You've seen this, haven't you? You've seen this when you've gone out. People who are off their head on Bolivian marching powder, on gack, on beak. And they get really aggressive and they move aggressively. And that was gack dancing. So don't forget, those people weren't just drinking, weren't just knocking over glasses of champagne. They're also on drugs, the drugs that they keep illegal for you and me. But they can get it. They can help these international drug crime lords and county lines gangs get the money that they need to commit the crimes that they commit. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. 9 out of 10 bathrooms in the House of Commons were found to have cocaine in. And that was the type of parties they were having. It's never investigated, by the way. That was never followed up. If you have certain jobs, you're tested for drugs. I think they. I don't know how they do it. I don't know if they take some hair or something. They can see if you've got some drugs in your system or you've taken drugs in the last few months. Someone might know in the chat and let me know how it works. But people have to have drug tests, routine drug tests, depending on your profession. How are the people in charge of this country that keep drugs illegal not having these tests? How does that work? And I've met rich people in my time, and nearly all of them, to a man, to a woman, who went to had a little bit of wodge. I've seen do gack. I've seen them do it. The great British video gamer and one of the lucky ones who did not lose anyone. My heart goes out to everyone who has a story like that. I'm sorry for your losses. Yeah. Skylar says, I think about how depressing lockdown was for my friend. He desperately wanted to hug his grandchildren. That's what he told me on the phone. Phil said Sunak possibly wanted to PM it for the history books. It's not enough to become a permanent multimillionaire, isn't enough. He needs to bleed the public purse dry as well. So yeah. So by the way, David Warburton, he's now stood down as an MP. So there's going to be another by-election. Hopefully, another Tory seat up for grabs. I think it was quite a safe seat. I think he won by 18,000 in the last election. But Tory MP quits after taking cocaine. I mean, it's remarkable that that picture came out over a year ago. And he's only resigning now. One rule for them. One rule. Imagine you, right, at work. Imagine you're at work and your boss gets a picture of you that's been posted on social media of you there with lines of cocaine. Do you think you'd still have a job in the morning? Do you think you would? He's been there for over a year. He's been there basically. Defending the rights of the people of Frome and Somerton, wherever the bloody hell that is. He's so it's Rishi Sunak's got a fourth by-election nightmare. Which is it's just insane that that picture came out so long ago, and now it's only just now actually causing him to lose his job. He's also been accused of abusing women as well, of course. You know, they think they're above the law. They all do. You saw that in the lockdown parties, and they're just a fraction. That was just a little microcosm of actually what was going on during the lockdown period. They had dozens of parties at Number 10, at Conservative HQ, at Checkers. They had dozens of parties while you and I were not allowed to go and see our friends, not allowed to go and see our family. That summer of 2020, I couldn't go and see my parents. We had many months not seeing my parents, and in the event, it was the last few months of my dad, who suffers from dementia, being able to walk, being able to go out the house. He's been in the house since September 2020. He hasn't left the house since then. He hasn't left the living room since then. And that's time I'll never get back. And the Tories were dancing. And I'm sorry if there's anyone watching this. I don't know why you would be, but like, if you do think that the Tories have anything to offer this country, anything, and you get these horrible old people going, yeah, but young people today, no. You know what? Anything you say about young people today, just say, well, who are their role models? Who are they looking up to, eh? Who's in charge? Who's got all the money? How do they behave? You look at the people in charge of this country, and they are just the worst, the absolute worst. I'll do a video later about Suella Braverman, about her select committee appearances last week, where she was just as bad as it could possibly be. She was asked if she's got 2 kids. So how would you feel if your 2 kids went missing? And she said, what would you do? She went, I'll call the police. They went, well, something like 150 migrant children have gone missing from Home Office hotels in the last year. Like, they've gone missing. Why aren't we just moving heaven and earth to try and get these people, find these young people, vulnerable young people? Suella Braverman doesn't care. She goes on and on about how they're not housing children, unaccompanied migrant children in hotels anymore. They've got these procedures. They had a meeting. Did they tell you they had a meeting? They had a meeting about that. Wow, he sounds like a right charmer. I'm no expert, but he looks like quite a few lines too, indeed. Graham FUC starts at all the Tories. Rich people are above the law, like in the era of feudalism. This is from Job. Yeah, there are exceptions to this rule, but the money aristocrats can ignore most laws. Yeah, we've seen this with Trump in America. The fact that his popularity's gone up since he's been indicted for federal crimes, and they're like, oh, it's just some papers. It's just some papers. It's not just some papers. For the 99th time, it was the fact that he concealed them. That the busies turned up and went, have you got any papers, mate? And he put the papers behind his back and he went, no, I haven't got any papers here. And they were like, right, you are, sir. And then they found that he actually had papers hidden behind his back. And those papers turned out to be America's nuclear secrets, at least some of them. My God. Does Dobby have kids? Did someone spill water on her? From Box Chicken there, making a reference to Gremlins, like it. William Hawkins. Companies are great at 1, not sharing information with people who need to know, and B, sharing it with people who don't need to know. Yeah, probably. Boomers kicked out the ladders for young people and still jealous that they have more life left to live. Yeah. I don't know if there's anywhere else we can go with this at the moment, because it is just the fact that we can't move on until these gobshites are out of office. We can't move on as a country. We can't improve as a country. We can't tackle the climate emergency. We can't get on with our lives until we get rid of them. That is the most pressing thing in the UK at the moment, is to get the Tories out of office sooner rather than later. So today, it's come out that Rishi Sunak has ruled out extra mortgage help. And I'm having this conversation with some boomers about how much mortgages have gone up recently because of the Tories' diabolical record on the economy. And they were like, yeah, but in the 1970s or 98, in the 1980s, inflation went up to 15%. And I'm like, right, okay. But here's the thing. 6% of 500,000 is a lot more than 15% of 20 million. That's how maths works. And back in the day, the amount of your earnings that you would on average spend on your rent or mortgage would be 9%. Now it's 33% and going up. Thanks to the chancers, morons, brigands, scumbags in the Tory party, the last 13 years of government of these people who their mantra, their thing welded, branded on them is one rule for them, another rule for us. That's what they say. So if we don't want to abide by the rules, by the law, by common decency, we don't have to. We're the Tory party. Hi, nice to meet you. Lucy says, I'm trans and wanted to start transition when I turn 40. I feel as if this government has put my life back at least 10 years. Lucy, I honestly, I sympathise so much. I feel like my life has been put back, nowhere near on the same level as what you're talking about there, but in terms of where I wanted to be in my life at the age of 44, I am not there. And the reason I'm not there is because of this goddamn disgusting Tory government. And I hate them. I absolutely hate them. And when they get sacked, when they lose their jobs, when they go to jail, when something horrible happens to them, I'm going to dance. I'm going to put on Fairy Tale New York. I'm going to dance around. I'm going to dance a goddamn jig. Like in The Last Boy Scout. William Hawkins says, throughout history, Bank of England base rate has always been between 4 and 10% until 1973. From there until 2008, we had extraordinarily high interest, followed by 15 years of extraordinarily low interest. At that motor, Lucy, wishing you all the best and sending support to you and a heart. This is nice. You guys have a life. What? That's not very nice. Wes said, we've been robbed of a decade. Some of us targeted exclusively by their evil culture and class wars. Yeah, Wes, you're absolutely right. And it's not just a lost decade of while the Tories have been in office. It's also the next 2 decades that we're going to have to spend clearing up their mess. You know, we're talking about macro trends in economics. It takes a long time to filter through. And this is what we've got to do now. This is what we've got to do. And it's one of the reasons why I keep saying this, but like, there must be justice coming to these people one way or another, whether that is, you know, quite what you would want from a justice system, or whether it's something a little bit different. Justice nonetheless, because these people have robbed precious years from our lives, and we're only here once. We're only here once. How dare they? How dare the rich hypocrites, the rich scumbags, the rich people who go, oh, well, you know, if you work hard at life, you can achieve anything. Yeah. Helps if you were born 3-0 up, mate. Really does. Really helps if you were born 3-0 up. I'll wager that everyone in that video was born rich. Everyone. Laughing at us idiots, not spending the time with our parents, with our grandparents, with our friends, our siblings, our nephews, nieces, or, you know, even our own children. And they did that. And they're laughing about it now. They're laughing about it so much. It's like, hey, Sean, remember that time you were caught in that photo having that big party, you know, during lockdown? Oh yeah, Christmas, yeah, 2020. That was funny. He goes, would you like a lordship? Yeah, I'd like to be a lord. That sounds great. Give me a gong. I deserve it for failing to win an election. Jesus Christ. Lost 15 years now and around 20 plus to get better. Rees-Mogg wasn't lying when he said might be 50 years to get any benefit. Yeah, the benefit will be that the Tories have gone. Self-deprecating, Graham. Just ignore me. I've gone chaotic neutral in the depression. Sorry to hear that, Duke. Well, listen, Duke, if you want to come over to the Discord server, if everyone else, One Angry Pagan, anyone else wants to come over to the Discord server now, we're going to head over there. If you are a YouTube member or a patron of the Labour Social channel or my channel, Graham Hughes, you should get access to it. If you haven't got access to it, please send me a message. I'm going to just check now and make sure that everyone who wants to get on there can. We're going to have a James O'Brien listen along. The advert should be over now because it's 6 minutes past 10. We'll have a James O'Brien listen along, and we can comment as people are phoning in and stuff like that. But be interesting to hear what James makes of all this. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you so much for the super chats. It means a lot. These live videos don't really get monetized as much as they should by YouTube. For some reason, they hate our live videos that me and Phil make on this channel. If we make a pre-record, then that gets monetized. But if we do a live show, it doesn't. So we're kind of relying a little bit on the super chats coming through as we're doing them at the moment. Things will change. Things will get better as things pick up in the future. But thank you very much. My mum's out there saying good morning, Graham. Hi, mum. And yes, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all the super chats. Thanks for the chat. Thank you to all the YouTube members and the patrons of this page. Phil Morehouse will be back in the morning at 9:30 with another morning brew, where he'll be putting the world to rights, because that's just what we do. But until then, thanks for watching, and hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.